Can you hear me all right? I can't hear you yet. 1 second. Let me make sure.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. I'm just confirming. At first, I felt that I got a feedback from yourself with my voice, but I can't seem to get that now, so it should be fine.
I think we're good now. Yeah, I can hear you, and there's no feedback.
Perfect. All right. So we are all recording this already. So let us start. Wouldn't take very long. I'll stick to the questions,
Sure.
and yeah, we'll take it from there. Right.
Sounds good.
All right. A very good evening to you, Mr. Sid Sriram, and thank you once again for allowing us to interview you. And I'm sure your fans and well wishers in South Africa are going to be, thrilled because this time they get to see your face as well.
Sure.
So thank you for allowing that to happen.
Sure.
How have you been, by the way?
I've been good. It's been a very hectic, I want to say like 2 years now. I was gonna say a couple weeks, but it's been kind of nonstop for 2 years. Lots of movement, lots of transformation, lots of moving around the world, but all very exciting, inspiring stuff. So I've been great.
That's good to know. But before we go into Shivanar and your new venture, etc., I must say I don't think you realize the impact that you've made in South Africa. And I didn't realize it until last year. So June 16th, 2024, everyone went out onto social media and said, this is what happened last year this time. And they all shared their memory. So, you left a little bit of a memory with us with our favorite song or, something that happened on that day. And when you speak to many of the youth, we celebrate National Youth Day on the 16th of June. And rightfully so, everyone acknowledges that day because it's important. But when you say, what happened on the 16th of June, and many youngsters go, Sid came to sing for us as well.
I
So
love
you've left that as well. So 16th of June is important for us now for 2 days. And I hope to get to see you again, on South African shores. I think people will definitely appreciate that.
I look forward to coming back. My time being there was so special, and it was my last time when I came to Durban. It was my first time out in South Africa, and um, I'm really happy to hear that I left an impact there because the place left such a deep mark on my spirit as well. And I think about it often, and I can't wait to be back.
Good, definitely. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that one.
Sure.
Now, coming to Shivanar, and can you share that journey with us and how you decided to actually record Shivanar, and also why that particular verse in the Tirupugal? Just if you can let us know that journey, so when we hear it on the 3rd of April, we'll be able to resonate and understand where it's coming from.
Sure. So Tirpugar has always been really important to me and my family. It's that anthology of poetry by the same poet Arunagiri that is something my mom started learning when she was quite young in Chennai, then Madras, and she was learning these pieces. She must have been in like high school maybe. Everyone else was much older, maybe in their like 40s, 50s, who was learning, but she was like this young lady who like really loved these pieces and had a very deep devotion for Muruga. And so she deeply imbibed these pieces from a young age, learned hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And once she started teaching me music, or I started just like listening to music around the house around 92, 93, I was like 2 or 3 years old, those pieces would be floating around. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that Shivanar was one of the first pieces that I'd hear either her singing or a student singing. One of the first pieces that really caught my ear, and I was just drawn to it. And I didn't know entirely why at the time, but I knew it's something that really spoke to me. So I asked my mom to teach me when I was quite young, and I think maybe around 7 or 8, she taught it to me. So I think first and foremost, this piece feels like home. It feels like a piece that really grounds me, that helps me find my center. And again, when I was like really young learning the piece, I didn't fully know at the time the spiritual power of Carnatic music or my relationship to spirituality. It was still something that felt fairly just like vast to me. So I couldn't wrap my mind around it intellectually, but I knew within myself Tirpugar, the specific Tirpugar was something that I deeply resonated with. And as I grew older, I started performing the song when I was around 10, and fairly consistently have sung it since then in concerts scattered across, my year. So the song felt like home, and then I just started to deeply familiarize myself with the piece through performing it. And at some point, it just became the piece that when I sang it on stage or when I was practicing, it just immediately just had this impact on me that felt divine. And I think in many ways, this piece was my first portal to understand the divine, understand my relationship to spirituality, understand my devotion to Muruga. And it's just, it's been that kind of place of solace, inspiration, truth when I've needed it most, for sure.
That's great. Now, talking about spirituality, we want to create that positive impact. As you know, not just in South Africa, throughout the world, we're all going through challenges. And, with all that negative vibes that happen, you want to create that positive energy. So in South Africa, on the 3rd of April at 6 p.m., we asking all temples, because it is the Shashti Tidi as well on the 3rd
Yes.
of April, a very auspicious day for Murugan. So we asking all the temples out there, all the organizations, the Tamil organizations, and every household at 6 p.m. to
Mhm.
play the Shivanar when it gets, launched. So imagine everyone, doing it together and the positive energy that it will create. So we're looking forward to that as well. And I'm sure it's going to do something good to the world. We're hoping that it does.
Yeah, I
Now,
believe that music is just such a powerful tool, and um, especially when it's well intentioned and it's kind of like set in that direction and it's performed with that intention or recorded with that intention, it has it can have a very profound impact. So I'm deeply honored that households, temples, and organizations in South Africa are going to be celebrating the peace.
thank you for that. Now, talking about the fact of impact and wanting to also learn about it, youth in South Africa are obviously wanting to unpack the Tirupugul, but they also, have to go about with their daily lives and that challenge. I mean, coming from America, you would know the Western part of it, and then trying to keep to your roots as well. There's
Sure.
always that challenge. But with the youth, what would you advise them, with trying to unpack the Tirupugul? And what general advice would you give to them, to those youngsters that look up to you, who are now going to listen to this and say, Sid has caught my interest in this, in Tirupurga, and that one verse. I want to know more verses. What's your advice to them?
I would say first let the music kind of just like wash over you and experience it in that way. And or let me take a step back. I think the way that my relationship with Tirupurga really evolved over the years was understanding it in layers. For the first thing that really um captured my heart and my spirit and my attention was the sound of it. So the sound of the phonetic sound of the poetry, really falling in love with Tamil as a language by way of Tirupurga was my first kind of understanding of it. Then after that, I really went in and just tried to understand what the lyrics were saying and talking about, found a new love for it in that way. And I would say, I think to the youth, just organically kind of find your relationship with the pieces of music, with the poetry. I think nothing can be forced. But lucky for us, these pieces are really beautiful, really profound. And what happened for me is very naturally, I just kind of gravitated towards it. And I think that will happen to most who have the interest for it. I think listening to the music, and then the Tirpura that I specifically sing, they're all poems and originally not tuned, and different people have set melody to them. So the school that my mom kind of comes from and what she's handed down to me, they're all tuned by he's no longer alive, but his name is Delhi A.S. Raghavan. We call him lovingly Guruji A.S. Raghavan. So the melody of them are also just so just like charged, I would say. So I think for the youth, just listen to it, and then as you find your like little pockets of the pieces that really grab you, follow that and spend the time. I think one thing that when I was younger that I didn't do was my attention was small. Like I was always running around. I was definitely one of those kids who didn't really have a lot of patience at first. So but luckily I had my parents who encouraged me to to sit down, take the time, and have a quiet relationship with music, with spirituality. And even at first, if you feel a tad bit bored, break through that initial moment of needing to, like, your mind to run elsewhere, and allow yourself that peace, I think. And that can come at any age. Doesn't matter if you're 5 or 15 or 30. You know what I mean? It's really instilling in oneself that or not even instill, giving oneself the space to open up and have that relationship with the music or the words or the spirituality, I think, is really important. So that's what I would say.
No, definitely. I think it's a calling. When you have that calling,
Yes.
when it's time, and it's always all in God's time when He wants you to do it. And I purely believe, when I heard about this, when I was approached, about Shivanar, I thought, firstly, you blessed, because Murugan himself has decided, what, it's time to unfold the Tirupuggal, and it's time to use voices like yourself to
Sure.
get the world to know about it. So that's how I see it. God makes us, we are puppets. God makes us do it in His way. So that's
Yeah.
what I purely believe. Now, talking about Murugan, I think this question is personally from me is, you sang in Bata Caves. How was that experience?
It was so beautiful. It was such an important experience for me going there. I've been there once before when I was in Kuala Lumpur for a show. And that was beautiful, but going during Thaipusam specifically, where there's about like 1.1 or 1.2 million devotees who are attending over like a day and a half, and just to see it just fully packed with people with just a single goal of going and expressing their faith and their devotion to Lord Muruga there. It was so powerful. Even if you see one person, moving with that sense of devotion and really like kind of putting forth that faith, that's inspiring. But when you see a space that's just packed with, that was thronged with people coming with the kavadis and the palkodams, and they're going and it's like 350 steps to get up to the temple from the base floor, and it's everyone's just going. And some moments in your life really humble you, and they remind you of what your purpose is, and I would say this was definitely one of them for me. And it was just, I couldn't have asked for a more beautiful experience personally. And then to be able to shoot our video there and really have the video be our expression of devotion to Muruga, and to capture that, put it out to the world, it's just something really special for me. And I'm sure we'll speak about this is the start of a kind of new phase of my artistry and my career with the release of this piece. So it feels like the most auspicious and beautiful way to set that off, for sure.
Yeah, for me personally, I feel as if you entering a new chapter, because
Yes.
I saw that video in Bata Caves, and I was like, this, the whole atmosphere must have obviously got you to the point where you could hear it. You sang it with so much of soul, with so much of feel. It was just between your voice and Murugan, and nothing
Sure.
else.
Sure.
And and then when you just look at that, it just shows again, like what I said before, it's all Murugan's work, and he's making it possible. And as if you've got the first blessings in Bata Caves, and now, I mean, majority of the temples here in South Africa are going to be playing it. So it's just going to just continue as a ripple effect, and that must continue, because it's all good and positive energy at the end of the day.
Most definitely.
So what can we expect, more? I know you spoke about the fact that, yes, you're tapping into this new chapter, but can we expect more Carnatic songs and launches in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I think more Carnatic songs. I think with this piece, it's really pulling from my roots of Carnatic music, but then also putting it in a contemporary sonic musical context. So while still very much championing what the song is about, like not diluting the message, not diluting the song, not diluting the intention and the energy of it. And I think that is going to be a large part of what this next phase of my career is. One is taking like Carnatic pieces that are very close to me, reinterpreting them in a way that feels just as spiritually charged as the originals are, but really taking it into the future. I think that's a large part of what my purpose as a musician is take the music that's made me who I am, pull from my roots and throw that into the future, and really allow for completely new sounds and sonic experiences for my fans, both old and new. And then also creating music with that same intention, but original music in Indian languages that's going to carry the same spirit, but maybe not necessarily be spiritually based pieces, but whatever, covering the spectrum of emotions, but really taking all my influences, taking the fountainhead of my music, which is Carnatic music, and putting it forth and making music to take who I am, which is Tamil, and take that and just really march into the future. And the hope is to really impact global music in this way. I'm so proud of where I am, and I'm so proud of what makes me who I am. And I think the perspective that comes from India and the Indian diaspora across the world is such an important, dynamic, exciting one. And I want to be able to take those perspectives and help shift the way people listen to music across the globe. So I think that's going to really kind of be my the core tenets that push me forward. And I'm really excited to do that. I've been in music now for about 13 years. I started in 2012, it's 2025 now. And I feel like so far it's been a building of my foundation to put me in this position now to really just be a torchbearer, fearlessly going across the world and taking this music across the world.
Definitely. And, talking about Tamarins, I can say you've definitely made every South African Tamarin out there very proud. I can say
Thank
that. And then obviously, lastly, something that we would want to hear. I know it's officially getting launched, but hearing it like this has always been magical. A few lines from Shivanar, please.
Sure. Shivanar manam kuliram upadesha mantramide dilum pagarsai gurunada Shivagama sundaritan varaba kandanin sayale birumbi ulam ninayam அவமாயை கொண்டுலகில் விருதா அலைந்துழதும் மடியேனை அஞ்சல் என வரவேனும் அறிவாகமும் பெருக இடராதும் தொலைய அருள் ஞான இன்பம் அது புரிவாயே.
Thank you so much. We thoroughly enjoyed that. I can say that again. But I think on behalf of every South African that follows you and loves your music, I'd like to say, Murugan, bless you on your new chapter. Thank you for giving us good music to continuously just take us through the journey of life. You definitely explained what a musician should be. I think you're also living it. And all the very best. I think also continue all love, no hate. It's something that everybody needs to stress on because the world needs it. But yeah, all the very best and looking forward to seeing you in South Africa again.
Thank you so much. Sending all my love to all my South African listeners, fans, and lovers of music. And thank you. I look forward to being back. And when I'm back, it's going to be extra special. I can't wait.
Definitely. Okay, you take care. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.